Hello, internet friends, and welcome to Monsters Among Us, where any creature a little less than human is always welcome. And today we're venturing to the lands of my people. I'm half Mexican. Shut up. I know I'm the whitest Mexican you've ever seen. But we're taking a look at 5 Hispanic/Latino monsters, and before you freak out, if you are here to see El Chupacabra, click away, because, true story, I hate El Chupacabra. It's probably my least favorite cryptid of all time, so I'm not going to talk about it. If that offends you, you need to find something more serious to be offended about. Alright, so here we go. 5 terrifying Hispanic/Latino monsters. Our first monster isn't really a corporeal monster so much as a phenomenon, and it comes to us out of Argentina and Uruguay, dating back to the Gaucho area, so the 18th and 19th centuries.
You might find yourself walking alone at night only to see mysterious, wispy lights randomly appearing just a few feet above the ground. When you near the light, you may see its beam is shining on something, perhaps an object.
Never mind the fact that the light has no visible or logical source. You reach into it, grab the object, and go on your merry way, only to drop dead shortly after. Legend says the consequence of messing with the luz mala is death, as the mysterious light gives off toxic gases composed of disintegrated human bones, which, in this legend, is fatal to us breathing and alive folk.
Naturally, when rumors swirled that the lights were killing people, they became known as the evil lights and were seen as an ill omen, and they were called the Lantern of the Devil. The lights were also rumored to be the wandering souls of those who either weren't baptized before death, or the souls of the dead who were crying in eternal pain.
And you just had to touch the pretty little light. But maybe the little object you picked up was totally worth your own death. Some believe the lights reveal the burial sites of Atahualpa treasure, or maybe you just picked up an urn with human ashes inside. But for some, the promise of treasure is worth the risk of their life. It was said those green with envy sought the lights and its rumored treasures, and tried to protect themselves from its deadly effects with prayer or woolen blankets to block the gases. Because that's how that works. Seems just a little dangerous regardless, but the luz mala is a reminder to the religious of a possible afterlife without baptism and the consequences of seeking the unknown and getting greedy for monetary possessions. No pun intended. Second on our list is a fearsome creature who resides exclusively in the mountains, forests, and caves of the Dominican Republic. And let's just say, if you saw a body shot of her on Tinder, you would be swiping right. We'll call them the mermaids of the land. Beautiful in appearance, cruel in nature, and they have weird feet. I'm, of course, referring to La Ciguapa, the meanest, most beautiful nocturnal forest nymph that'll show you a good time before making you disappear for forever.
Don't know if she's into ladies, but this long-haired, naked, tan-skinned woman wanders the forest looking to lure men into her natural habitat, make love to them, and either kill, eat, or make them vanish, depending on the variation of the tale.
So, how do you know if you've just encountered a beautiful naked lady in the woods or La Ciguapa? Don't be fooled by the dark blue skin or the black slanted demon eyes. Surely, that just makes her exotic. You look at her feet. Her hips may lie, but her feet do not.
She has feet that face backwards instead of forwards, which can be particularly confusing if you're panicked in the woods, trying to get away from her, and you think, oh, I'll just go the opposite direction of her footprints, only to run right into her waiting arms.
Who was the first man to make this deadly mistake? No one knows, you dangus, he disappeared. but the first mention specifically of La Ciguapa was in a short story by Francisco Javier Angulo in 1866, and the story is thought to have roots in African religious beliefs that migrated to the island during the colonial period. So, what can you do to avoid being enchanted by La Ciguapa's hypnotic eyes and va-va-voom figure?
First, you can stay the fuck out of the Dominican mountains.
That'd be a start, but you're an adventurer. Okay, I get it. Be on the listen for a very distinct chirping or wail, almost like a baby shrieking. If you want to capture La Ciguapa, which, why? She's going to eat you.
You can only track her on a night with a full moon, and if you happen to have a black and white polydactyl dog, meaning his paws have 6 toes on each foot instead of 4.
Why? I have no earthly idea. But good luck finding that dog. I think it's best to just stay away from the woods and the mountains and the caves altogether. Except if you're into foot fetishes, in which case, chase on, and you're welcome for this section of the video. Our next monster is notorious throughout many Latin and Hispanic cultures, firstly originating from Spain and later Chile, Cuba, and Mexico. Some sources add Portugal and Galicia to the list. Maybe this is the reason that the Latino boogeyman has 4 different names and probably more. El Cuco, El Cucuy, El Coco, that's my favorite, and El Viejo del Saco. No matter what you call the boogeyman, he's still going to find you and eat you should you misbehave.
And it seems no matter what your culture's version of the boogeyman is, they serve the same purpose: for parents to scare the ever-loving shit out of their children and get them to behave.
Because, of course, El Cucuy likes to hide under your bed in the shadows or in your closet at night, watching, waiting for you to disobey your parents. So he has an excuse to come out, boogeyman coming out of the closet, and snatch you up, stick you in his bag, take you away, and eat you. Because that's how these things always end. Or maybe he just gobbles you up right there, not even leaving your bones behind for your parents to bury. How nice of him.
I'm willing to bet not many children have lived to tell the tale of what the notorious figure looks like, but allegedly he can shapeshift or be shapeless, meaning he can probably just morph into your worst nightmare. Sometimes he's described as having an empty pumpkin as a head or having fangs. I don't know. You pick the creature that would terrify you most. That's probably what he looks like.
But I'm sure, as the children are being devoured, they wonder, where did the boogeyman come from? What's his story? No, they're not wondering that at all. They're being eaten. But I'm gonna tell you anyways. So, in the early 1900s, a man named Francisco Ortega came down with a bad case of tuberculosis. He went to a medicine woman of sorts who said the cure to his disease would be to drink the blood of children and rub their fat on his chest. First, ew. Second, what? So what did Francisco do?
Naturally, he kidnapped a 7-year-old named Bernardo and drank his blood, and from there he just stalked the night searching for misbehaving children to drain dry, and apparently continues to do so.
Or is there just a legion of boogeymen just wandering around? Either way, no thank you. Number 2 on our list is one that has been recommended to me non-stop. So here she is. You can stop recommending her. The one you've all been waiting for. La Llorona, aka the Weeping Woman. I don't know why I said that with an Italian accent. Aka the worst mother of the afterlife. Now, La Llorona has her origins in the land of Mexico, but it seems there are numerous variations of her story, but usually it involves an attractive young lass named Maria who falls for the wrong guy and ultimately commits the unthinkable to be with him.
The oldest variation I could find dates back to the early 1500s with a dude named Hernan Cortez. You know, the conquistador who helped Spain claim Mexico for its own by overthrowing the Aztec Empire. Now, Aaron was linked to a woman called La Malinche, and by linked, I mean she was his mistress, and La Malinche gave birth to a child by Cortez, only for him to turn around and marry a high-born Spanish woman, and that made La Malinche very angry. So she decided to enact vengeance. It doesn't say exactly what she did, but I'm guessing it was something along the lines of the other variations of this legend.
Version 2 tells the tale of a town beauty, Maria, who falls in love with a ranchero, and things seem happily ever after when they marry and have 2 children together. Cool. Things are great. Of course they're not. And then he turns around and sleeps with another woman. Didn't see that coming. So instead of, I don't know, getting angry with the other woman or her husband, she decides to enact revenge by killing her children and, in her grief, drowning herself. Version 3 says Maria was a peasant girl who had 3 children with a rich nobleman who refused to put a ring on it because the kids weren't born within the sacred union of marriage.
So Maria says, "Oh, okay. I'll just get rid of that problem and drown our children in the nearby river." He still won't put a ring on it, who'd have thunk, so she drowns herself.
Other versions and variations may alter details slightly, but the majority and gist remain the same. So, what happens after Maria drowns her children and herself?
Well, she enters the afterlife and tries to get into heaven, but the guy at the gate stops her and says, "Hold up, where are your young'uns?" She looks around and says, "I guess they got away from me? You want to enter heaven, you must have children. Come back with young'uns." So, Maria, aka La Llorona, is cursed to wander the waterways, rivers, canals, and the likes, searching for the lost souls of her drowned children so she can rest peacefully.
Not sure she deserves that since she killed them. At night, you can allegedly hear her crying out for her kids in between sobbing, and she's dressed in black, how original, sporting long fingernails. Love that.
Sometimes she's said to have the face of a horse. Woof. Or just no face at all. Should you run into her and you're A, a child, or B, a man, you're in bad luck. Though she's seen as an omen of death to pretty much anyone. Some versions say she enacts her rage on men, while others say she mistakes young children for her own and whisks them away, making them disappear forever.
Now, obviously, this is another great deterrent for children to not wander off at night, but it's also a cautionary tale of falling for the wrong guy and turning into a crazy lady because of it. Or, if you're looking for a more historical context, some believe the Cortez version of the story mirrors the hostility the indigenous in Mexico felt towards their European conquerors. Either way, I'd suggest if you see La Llorona, you run away very fast and very far away. And number 1 on our list is in this position for a reason. I'd never heard of this creature, and to me it's incredibly intriguing and creepy and pretty unique. We have Venezuela and Colombia to thank for El Sibon, aka the Whistler, aka good luck running away, aka creepiest motherfucker on the planet. But this creature wasn't always a creepy, bone-wielding creature of the night. He was once a young, spoiled boy.
This child is one of those kids whose parents bend to their will and meet his every demand despite his awful attitude and ungrateful nature. So, one day, this brat says, "Hey Dad, I think I want some venison tonight." So his dad goes out hunting for deer, and at some point, the boy gets impatient waiting for his dinner, so he goes after his father, only to find him sans deer.
Angered by this, he brutally murders his father, takes his heart and liver back to his mother, and asks her to cook it for him.
The mom, not knowing the organs belong to her husband, begins to prepare the meat, only to catch on what has happened.
And this boy is in for such a bad case of whoop-ass, he became a supernatural creature. Firstly, Mom curses him for an eternity. Then she calls Grandpa in, who ties the boy to a post, whips him, and rubs gin, lemon, or hot peppers in his wounds depending on the variations. But Grampy isn't done.
In some legend, he throws the boy in a cage with rabid dogs, and in others, he sets the rabid dogs on the boy to chase him forever. Then, Grampy also curses the boy to carry his father's bones for eternity. The mother's curse magically turns the boy into a ghost, the haunting figure that he remains today, El Silbón.
But what is so scary about a punished child ghost? Well, the curse also made him taller than the trees, skeletally thin, with a nice dog companion constantly nipping at his feet, and he carries the bag of his father's bones, wears a white tattered suit and a wide-brimmed hat. And if I saw that coming towards me, I'm sorry, I'm probably gonna shit my pants. And he's called the Whistler for a reason. If he's near you, you'll hear him whistling notes similar to the do, re, mi, fa, sol, that solfege that you hear in music, but a tiny bit more eerie. Here's the fun part.
If you hear his whistle in your ear or nearby, you might shit your pants, but you're actually safe. However, if you hear it in the distance, it means he's actually right behind you.
Fun, right? But you don't even have to go out to encounter him. Sometimes he'll enter your home while you're sleeping to have a peaceful place to count his bones.
If anyone hears him making this commotion, it means someone in the household will die.
Luckily, there is an easy way to defend yourself. All you have to do is remind him what a giant little asshole he was in the living life, or keep a dog, a whip, and hot peppers around. Check, check, and check. The lesson here, don't be a little asshole or a brat, and don't kill your father, or anger your mom and your grandpa, cause they're gonna curse your ass. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. Again, apologies for any mispronunciations and all of my awkward hand movements. Latino Hispanic monsters are horrifying, and this was fun. It's been a while since I feel like we've done a more lighthearted video, and I was in the mood. So I think the last time we did a Monsters Among Us, I was nearing 100,000, and now we're nearly at 250,000, which is insane. So yeah, I'm really just enjoying doing whatever video perks my fancy. It keeps it fresh for me and makes sure that I'm enjoying what I'm doing, which is really important to me. So thank you all for your continued support, and expect another Dark Matters next week.
Special thanks to the Patreon family. The names you see on screen are just some of the people who financially contribute to this channel, whether they are passionate about unsolved cases or other dark content like Monsters Among Us on this channel. Their support cannot be overstated. If you are interested in supporting the channel, information is in the description, but even if you only continue to support by watching, thank you. Thank you for watching the video, that was a lot of fun, and to those of you who support the channel by watching, contributing, or buying merchandise, thank you. If you want to see other dark content, be sure to subscribe to this channel, and stay safe, friends, and have a good night.